Overlanding and moto camping is very popular right now, but adventure bikes are expensive. You know what's not expensive? Honda MiniMotos.
MiniMotos. We've got two of them right here, so we're doing a little mini adventure excursion here in Moab. We've got the Honda Trail 125 that I'm going to be riding. We've got the Honda Monkey, and we've kitted them out with some extra gear, so we're in for a really cool adventure.
Absolutely. We're going to go up Hurrah Pass here in Moab. It's going to be super pretty. We're going to get up there and set up camp on our little MiniMotos. Moto camping, mini moto camping.
Today is an awesome day because we finally have the opportunity to get this Honda Trail out on a trail, on a proper trail too. We're here in Moab.
Look at that. Not a bad way to spend a day at work.
And just taking in the scenery, getting some good views. So if you haven't seen this bike before, this is the all-new Honda Trail 125. It's all new for 2021. Basically, Honda brought back a bike that they sold decades ago. They fuel injected it, gave it very similar styling to what we saw back in the 70s and 80s. And what's really cool about this is we're in an area right now that is dominated by $20,000 BMW GS's and Africa Twins and big adventure bikes. And this is a $4,000 Honda Trail, and I'm having a blast so far.
You know, for a moment there, I wasn't sure I was gonna like riding this with these bags on the side. I thought they'd be way in the way, especially for standing up. But actually, when I stand up, my legs can rest against the bags, and surprisingly comfortable. It's like they support me. Man, little bikes with little wheels make for big bumps, but at least we're close to the ground. These bikes don't weigh much. So yeah, so far it's been easy going, minus the fact that this monkey has absolutely no guts. So I'm probably just gonna ring it out all day. But these bikes tend to get about 100 miles per gallon according to published reports. So the gallon of fuel that these hold us should allow us to ring these out all day. I do have inverted forks. Alex has got standard forks. So already I'm better off. But all around, I mean, these are really comfortable bikes to be on. They've got big cushy seats. The suspension is soft. It's a nice bike to sit on. A lot of dirt bikes have pretty hard seats because they want you to stand up on it, and it makes sense. It's a good way to ride if you want to ride hard. But for just cruising down a road like this, having a nice soft seat and plush suspension, it's pretty good. These rock walls never get old. This is gorgeous. Look at that.
Powering both of these MiniMotos is a 125cc single-cylinder air-cooled engine from Honda, but they do use different transmission setups. Both have a 4-speed, but obviously Kase on the Monkey has a full-on manual transmission with a clutch. This is a semi-automatic, so no clutch up here by my left hand, and it does have this heel-toe shifter. When I'm out in the dirt, I want to see the scenery that I'm passing. I don't want to pass it and have it all be a blur. So for me, having a small little engine that doesn't make a crazy amount of power is perfect for off-roading like this. And plus, like I've said, it's just stress-free when you have a small amount of power on dirt. All right, so we've got a little water crossing up here. I don't know how deep it is, so I'm gonna make you go first, scope it out.
Yeah, I can scope it out.
That way if you fall in, I can go around.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've got the dry bags anyway, so I'm set up for this. So not a ton of ground clearance on this monkey, probably not loads of water fording. And be interested to see how soft it is in here. Oh, that's not too bad. Wow, you know what? I am shocked with how much traction I had through there. This had no problem. These Pirelli tires are pretty good. Oh, and look at that. Tommy's headlight has fallen off.
Yep. Boots aren't waterproof, that's for sure.
My feet are pretty wet. How about you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my boots don't feel wet on the inside, at least.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a pool in the inside of my boot.
Okay, yeah. My feet are dry.
One thing I did notice going through that puddle with the trail, I know we've talked about this before, but that heel toe shifter,
Yeah.
right when I was riding up to the puddle, I wanted to stay in first the whole time, but I stood up to keep as much water off of me as I could.
In the second.
When I stood up, I banged into second.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was gonna have the power to get through the puddle in second, so.
Also, it looks like your camp blanket is taking on water.
It's heated. It's all right. It'll warm up and dry right off.
Now for suspension, clearly both of us are at a disadvantage when you compare this to a full-fledged, full-size adventure bike. We just don't have the suspension travel that those bigger bikes have, so it makes for a much rougher ride. And you gotta stand up and get your butt off the seat on much smaller rocks than you would on a bigger bike. But I'm not complaining about that. It kind of makes you laugh. It's not a bad thing at all, and especially because I have the skid plate, I'm really not worried about doing any damage. Man, that shifter keeps bumping me up into third gear. Oh, the shifter sucks!
All right, so let's take a look at the Trail 125. It's been a huge hit for Honda this year. They're really hard to get your hands on, and I've put a few extra things on this. From the factory, it comes with a skid plate on the bottom, which is great. That's something Kase can't say about his monkey. And I have this huge platform on the back here. So I put a 30-liter Kriega dry pack on the back here. I've got my tent and my pillow inside, extra fuel as well. I've got a little bungee net on here holding my water bottle, which is also attached with a rock strap for safety. And then up front, I've got a heated blanket, again secured to the handlebar with a rock strap. And huge thanks to Revzilla for supplying all this stuff. If you need anything to kit out your bike for an adventure like this, check out Revzilla.com.
I'm riding a Honda Monkey, and specifically this is Tommy's Honda Monkey behind the camera. So yes, it doesn't have a skid plate, but if I bash his header into a rock, it's more his problem than mine, so I'm not too worried about it. I've also got some dry bags from Revzilla, bunch of camping gear in them, and the cool thing about this bike, even though it doesn't have tools and it doesn't have the skid plate, is it does have a clutch. That's pretty nice.
All right, we've got a fun little rock section coming up here. I just watched a full-on Ford F-150 have to take its time going down this. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh boy!
Wow. That's the nice thing about a small bike right there.
I'm gonna take a little bit of an easier line since Kase almost flew into outer space on that one.
That was exciting. Again, a small bike, more manageable, but man, does not crawl up rocks like a full-on dirt bike does. It's so easy to put your foot down and just make sure that you're not gonna slip out or go over. This bike so close to the ground. Although, not quite enough force to get over a ledge like that. So again, I mean, small wheels, small bike, small motor. It's not like the most off-road capable thing in the world, but I'm having fun. And I actually have not bashed the exhaust yet, which I don't know, a little surprised by. I guess it's got a short wheelbase, so it's not too much of a risk, but still, I've been kind of pounding it up these rocks and it's taking it.
So the old trails had a low range and this one doesn't, and I wish it did. I'm in first gear right now and I'm gonna have to bump this little ledge right here. Just wish it had a little more oomph down low in first gear.
Man, that ledge was steep.
I know, dude. You almost went to space.
Yeah, it's funny. This thing is so short wheelbase and so light. That front end pops up a lot quicker than you might think.
Yeah, it came up quick, but that's the great part about mini bikes. You're so low to the ground, you were able to save it, no problem. Not a scratch on the bike.
Yeah, and it honestly, it probably looked pretty exciting, but it was not that hard to save.
It looked really cool, so don't tell anyone that it wasn't that hard. It looked impressive.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's a nice thing about a bike like this. I did have some of the bigger ledges there. One of them at least stopped the motor just because of the impact on the back tire, and that can happen on a dirt bike too if you're not riding the clutch. I feel a little bad riding the clutch on this bike as much as I would on a dirt bike. But yeah, I mean, you can pick your line so easily on these. It's
fun. you were going for a hard line there. You turned around to take a harder line, and that's what happens. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Pretty fun though.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Both of these bikes are pretty cool. We might as well do a little swap.
Yeah.
See how the other likes the other.
Exactly. I'll take the monkey.
Sounds good. It is kind of nice not having to think about the clutch. That simplifies things even further. I like having a clutch, but sometimes because that monkey doesn't have a ton of gearing, it can be, I don't know, feel a little bad for riding the clutch.
Already, this feels much cuter, much smaller, and much more innocent than that trail.
Definitely a little bit of a softer ride on the monkey than on the trail. I think that's a combination of suspension, but also tire.
So far, actually, I'm liking this trail a lot. It reminds me of riding an old school Honda trail up at David Morrow's property, one that we rescued out of a barn. Whoa! Didn't love that.
I thought for sure these saddlebags would be more of a nuisance than they are. I really can't feel the weight of them. They're not interfering with where I want to put my legs too much. The back of my boots are tapping them a little bit, but it's really not that bad. And I do like having a clutch. There's something about feathering a clutch and rocking through the gears on a motorcycle that just feels right.
One more really big difference between the trail and the monkey is the fact that the monkey has a real gas tank. So going downhill, I'm able to really grip my legs and squeeze this tank. And that helps me with stability, but it also helps just keep my body where it should be. So my right foot stays covering the rear brake, and I'm able to control my speed much easier than on the trail. Because on the trail, you don't have anything to really grip your legs to, and that makes it hard to keep your feet where they should be. I do love this soft, cushy seat though. This is a really comfortable bike to take in the dirt. It's just so cushy.
So I think the short wheelbase of the monkey is a little happier climbing up rocks, but yeah, trail will still do it, and I'm not too worried about it since it is a Honda. Tend to be pretty tough. Man, these bikes are just so much fun. Both of them are an absolute blast. We're coming up on the summit. This is pretty cool. And there's a guy on a real bike up here.
What did I say? Territory that is ruled by big adventure bikes, and here we are, same spot on little MiniMotos.
That is way cool.
Hey, those are kind of cute.
Thank you.
You like them?
Yeah.
Nice.
If you get to something you can't ride over, just pick them up and carry them.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
CW200s are for. Now this has been around forever.
So
they just came out with a new version.
They made these decades ago in the 70s and 80s. They brought it back for 2021, fuel injected it, gave it LED lighting.
I don't have fuel injected.
Yep. All right, well there you go. We've made it to the top here, and that concludes our little adventure on the Honda MiniMotos. I think we've proven that you can take everything you need with you on a mini bike. They can go all the places you want to go. And it's just awesome being able to take a $4,000 stock Honda, slap some bags on it, head out on the trail, and know you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we proved other than you don't have to spend a lot of money to come out and have fun, get to a really, really stunning, spectacular location, and both of these bikes are a blast. I would say I think that the monkey did better
I'd agree with that. My number one complaint with this bike, I said it a bunch of times, that heel shifter. I really don't think this bike deserves the name trail on the side with the heel shifter. I know the ones decades ago did have heel shifters and they're trying to keep that aspect of it, but it's really just unusable. If you buy one of these bikes, saw that thing right off before you take it on the trail.
Yeah, and I would say I wasn't really taking it easy over the rocks on Tommy's Monkey. I think he would agree with that. And skid plate, lack thereof, wasn't an issue. I didn't touch the header at all, so
yeah.
That, honestly...
I did touch my skid plate a few times, and I have a longer wheelbase, so I think
Yeah.
that's part of the reason. But yeah, you never touched it, so...
The short wheelbase on the Monkey, I will say, had the front end popping up quite a bit. But, again, it's a small bike. It's not that hard to combat. So, surprisingly, the Monkey did better. Trail, still a blast. Still really
a
cool.
blast. Definitely gets more looks out on the trail. More people will ask you about it. It's more of a talking piece. But as a true off-road bike and a do-everything bike, I think the Monkey takes the cake.
If you can call it an off-roader. Definitely not a dirt bike, but still a lot of fun. So that's it for this video. A really cool one, I'd say. And let us know what you guys think in the comments. We'll catch you in the next one. This video was made possible by Revzilla, and that's why we've got these bikes kitted out with a bunch of really cool gear to get you out moto camping. So to see what all we've been bringing with us to set up our camp, check out the video that's already live on the channel.